You are the lucky one who is together with me, going through some examples. Are you ready? Are you ready to see in practice how other people went through? Okay, this is my story, and this is in the end how I filled my 4-step, let's call it fill in the blacks format, to really get a clearer view on what is my aim. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I hope you are, because we're going to go through my examples. I'm going to share my screen. And before we're going to see other people, we're seeing it one more time with me, because I know that we talked about it, but maybe you're one of those who would love to see it as well. So we're going to look at it together. So my story is that as an innovation manager, I saw really great ideas collect dust on the shelf while persuasive presenters with less validated ideas allocated time and money. Now, with my knowledge about persuasion, about influence, and about personality, I want to help heart-centered people to be more clear and earn the stage that they deserve. So you also have this idea, right? Like this life experience or something that you went through that you saw with other people. And then how is this going to get into this 4-step framework? Now, let me show you. Let me show you. So, what this came about is I help coaches and entrepreneurs to become transformational speakers without hassle and nerves, so they can help more people earn money with that. Now, the main important part of all of this is, can I choose different words, yes or yes? Yes or yes? Would it be perfect if I change coaches to heart-centered, mission-driven people? No, it won't. The goal of this form is that you start to download the stuff that's in your head, and you start to just play around with it, right? This is also not a form that you just can put one thing in, right? Make a list, put all the ideas that you help like under each other to become transformational speakers, to transform the story that's within inside into a killer keynote so they can impact others. Right? It can be so many different things, and it's not about right or wrong. It's about putting it in on a piece of paper so you can see it. So every time you make a decision later on about teaching points, about your 3 steps, about what stories you're gonna pick, about your beginning, about your end, about all these different parts, you can look back. Does this make sense for my aim? Does this make sense for the transformational experience that people are going through? That's the goal. So, are you ready to see some other examples from either people you're going to meet now for the first time and see them now, or some of them you're going to experience later on again as well? So, that's going to be fun. So, the first one is Iffy. And Iffy started with doubts, and now she's rocking and rolling it as a public speaker. It's pretty damn cool. And her story is, I am an autistic black woman who was abandoned by my birth parents at 6 weeks old when she was really, really young. This sets her up to learn a lot about mental health, about resilience, and she has built her way. She's adopted, like, it's pretty wild, and she built her way first to become a professional dancer, and now she's a performance coach and speaker, and she helps others to really love themselves, basically, to love themselves and to claim their potential. Right? That's her story. That's a lot. She has a gazillion teaching points. She has so many stories that she can tell. But let's first create her aim. Let's fill in her first 4-step framework. She created, I help misfits to love themselves without the doubt or the fallback or the judgment, so they can feel fulfilled and can help others best. Again, can she put different words in that say the same thing. Yes or yes? Yes or yes? You're right, 10 points. It was yes. She can. It's not about filling in this perfectly. It's about downloading her thoughts so she has a clear view that when she's in doubt, she can look back upon this and she can see, does this make sense for what I want to achieve? Right? Another one. Thijs. Thijs is absolutely amazing and he calls himself a passionate nerd. And he spends most of the days behind a keyboard, not a piano, computer keyboard. Okay? And he wants to help make the world a better place. He's very concerned about the environment and he wanted to connect what he can do with something that helps the environment. And what he created is a system that helps African rangers detect elephants in the wild. And this helps these rangers to protect the wildlife, in this case specifically elephants. And now he wants to help other people to connect their passion with world contributing work. He's very passionate about the environment, but he knows that other people are passionate about other things, and he just wants to help the world, to make the world a better place. So all of this, it's a lot, right? Just like probably what you're experiencing, it's a lot. So how do you get this in this 4-step framework with the goal to get clarity, to know where you're going for? He helps quote unquote normal people who care about the world. That's what he made a decision for. Can he formulate it in a way where he would, for example, say he helps change makers connect their skill to world problems? Yes, he can, right? It's about downloading it. So he helps them to connect their skill to a global challenge without the feeling that they are not enough. That's what he felt. So they feel that they're contributing in a way that fits them. When you're listening to these examples, I would love for you to ask yourself the question, how can this work for me? Right? These examples are here for you, to guide you to your framework, to your answers, to your aim. So, are you ready for another example? I hope so, because we're going for it. We're going to Noelle. Noelle is an epic woman, and she was super doubtful, afraid to speak up, like in a small group, and now she's flying. She's getting paid to get on a plane, to go somewhere else, to tell her story. Like, it's incredible what's possible. And her story is that she's been a mom for most of her adult life, for 2 amazing daughters, and right now they're thriving. They're having their own life. They don't need their mommy to cook for them all the time. And she struggled a lot with finding her own way, her own passion. Who is Noelle when she's not momming the whole day? And after a period of struggle, she found her happiness again. She bloomed up. She bloomed, that's what she calls it. And now she wants to help other women to feel the same because it's their life. Now, again, this is her life experience. How is she going to frame this into this formula? She helps empty nest moms. That's her main focus. She helps more people, but this is her main focus. I help empty nest moms to get into full bloom using art. She's an art therapist, so she has her own way, without feeling alone. So they can live their vibrant life. So they can live the life that really fulfills them. So they can wake up every day with a smile on their face and think, I matter. Do you start to see that this is more of a framework that can help you really dial in the thoughts and the feelings and the trajectory of your audience instead of, oh my God, Lori, I don't know if empty nest moms should be empty nest moms. And I would be like, I don't know what that means. Nah, do you get my point? You know, without can be multiple things. Without feeling alone, without feeling overwhelmed, without losing themselves on the path, without them feeling they're not good enough. All of those are correct. And this is not just fill in one thing. Fill in 100 if you have to, if you want to. The more, the better. The more, the better. every time I do a speaking engagement, I evaluate. I'm reflecting on how I felt, what was landing, what wasn't landing, what did people say, what did they give me back. Sometimes I actively ask for feedback and then I iterate, right? This is your North Star. You want to be crystal clear on what that North Star is, and every time it becomes more zoomed in, so to speak. Maybe now it's very far and there's just this little dot on the horizon. And every time it becomes more clear, you're able to zoom in and see it with more detail. And that's what you want. The more detail you see, the more tailored your transformational journey, your presentation, your speaking engagement is going to be. Whew, that was a lot of words in a row. And we're not even finished, okay? We're having one more. This is joy. Joy is extraordinary. And joy has been smoking for a long, long time, since she was 14. And like to such an extent, like there's no tomorrow. Like smoking, 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 smoking. And she really wanted to stop. She knows how unhealthy it is. She didn't want any cigarettes anymore. It stinks. Come on now, it stinks. It does. Come on. And she tried it all. Patches, nicotine blockers, sprays, everything. And nothing really worked until a doctor really listened to Joy and asked her a question. Instead of asking, how are you going to stop smoking? She asked, why did you start smoking in the first place? And that question really like created so many breakthroughs for Joy. And she found out this was actually an inner child thing, and that she was numbing herself a certain experience that she went through, and that she was so numbing and numbing and numbing and numbing that at some point it also became a routine. So many things added up for her to keep smoking. But when she realized that this was something that she needed to heal from within, she started to do her to heal her childhood trauma, and now she wants to help other smokers to stop too, because that's what she did. And she didn't smoke for I don't know how long, but years, which is incredible. So this is her own life experience. Now, how did she boil that down in this framework? Well, she helps heavy smokers to stop smoking without the disappointment of failing, so they live happy and healthy. I think you know my point. You get my point. And you've heard me say over and over again, it's not about the framework. And yet we're talking about the framework, so it is important. But I want you to see the difference between the framework as a goal and the goal of the framework. And this is about the goal of the framework. The goal of the framework is so you download the thoughts, so you have them on a piece of paper, really write it down, because later on you will have questions and you will think, Lori, which story should I pick? Lori, what is my 3-step framework? Lori, what are my teaching points? Lori, how long is this going to be? What do I need to include? What do I need to exclude? And my first question will be, how is this going to make sense with the aim that you want to achieve? And if you don't know what your aim is, it's going to be hard. And when you're listening to this now, you're like, well, I wrote it down, but I don't know if it's perfect. That is perfect, okay? Because perfection is an illusion, and in your imperfect progress is going to get you way further than this illusion of perfection, because this illusion exists and it's only stopping you from moving forward. So when you wrote it down and you feel like, with what I know now, with the experience that I have now, this feels like the best I can do right now, then let's continue and let's go to the next step. Okay? You got it. You totally got it.